Hey, this is Meredith's husband. I've got some SEO advice for you, but I'm going to keep it really simple so that you can understand it, so it makes sense, and most importantly, so you can actually use it. I don't think anything is possibly more anxiety-producing than a fidget spinner that doesn't
That doesn't move, that doesn't fidget.
This episode brought to you by...
Brought to you by... I can't ever remember the name when I have to remember it.
Hungry Roots.
Hungry Roots! Do it again.
This episode is brought to you by...
Hungry Roots!
Hungry
Thank you,
Root.
Hungry Roots!
Okay, let's talk about shitty emails.
Oh, yes.
So, you know what I mean. You sent me these. You forwarded to me. You
Yes.
You don't send me shitty emails. You forwarded to me an email that you had received.
Yes.
And it is one of these, like, out of the blue, I would call it spam.
Yeah.
Out of the blue emails asking, hey, that's not exactly what it does, but link to our site, or you won an award. Here's a badge, put it on your site and link back to us. Sure. Great. Thank you. Okay. So these are
the only one.
Yeah. My opinion of these is, and I'm probably biased, but the 99.99999% of the time, they are total garbage.
Yeah.
However, I have changed my views on them a little bit over time. I'm going to tell you how I used to deal with these, and then what happened, how I deal with them now,
Okay.
and what I recommend that you do, or i.e. I'm probably going to do for you with this email that you have been sent.
But not for those listeners.
Well, but they can do it. It's not difficult.
Right. No,
It's
you're
pretty easy.
going to show them.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. On those
Okay,
rare
so you received this email out of the blue. You sent it to me. I'm going to go over it. It's one of these things that asks for. Let me I'll go over it, and then I'll kind of tell you my thoughts on it. So this was from I don't know who. Well, actually, there is a name. It came through your contact form, which is a bit of a warning sign that it's kind of spam. But it has a name. It has
many of them.
There is a phone number, first and last name, and the email is it's well written. It's nice. It sounds authentic, and I'm going to read it right now. Okay, and I'll do this as quickly as possible because I don't read very well. Okay, so here's the email that came through the contact form. Quote,
Teaching kids the importance of self-care is crucial in today's fast-paced world.
my response, okay, check. Good enough. The email continues.
By instilling healthy habits early on, we can help them manage stress and build resilience.
Okay, super. Second paragraph.
As someone passionate about this topic, I'd love to share an article with self-care strategies for children, including mindfulness techniques and creative activity.
Third paragraph.
Please consider publishing this piece on your site. Together, we can equip parents with the tools their children need for a brighter future.
Signs off, name, the website, and then...
P.S. If you're interested but prefer a different topic, I'm very much open to discussing that with you. However, if you do not wish to receive any further emails, I understand. Please respond and let me know.
Right.
Okay. Fair enough. I don't want to say I welcome that kind of email,
Right.
but yeah, okay. And inevitably this went out to hundreds of people, but still it's well written
Yeah. I read enough for me to go, wait a second.
for
Is
you to send
this
it to me. Right.
Spam? Or is this...
It was very well written in English.
Yeah.
Obviously written by an English speaker, etc. So you sent
Or
it to
an
me.
AI.
Or AI, right? Although it seems sincere, especially especially the PS. It seems sincere, and that's why it caught my attention. Yeah. Because, like I said, most of these are junk. Yeah. They are just garbage.
And when you say they're garbage, why are they doing this? What's in it for them?
Good question. They are doing their own SEO. Okay. I don't know exactly because an article was not attached to this and they didn't specify what the piece, they didn't say exactly what they wanted to have published. Right. But typically these things are going to be looking to links that you will build to their site one way or another. This looks like he's going to give you an article. I'll bet money that in that article is going to be a link back to their site.
Right.
Okay. Sometimes, and like I said, this is I think it's a sincere email. So, good, fair enough. Good for you. What I really dislike is when emails come through and like, hey, you won this award. You're a top 10, blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Put this badge. And then they give you a badge to encode on your site. But in the encoded code, in the code that you embed on your site is a whole bunch of links. It's very spammy, very shady.
Right.
So
And then the thing is that clients can't tell the difference. They'll look at somebody who has all these, quote, badges.
Yeah. But also, if a badge is not recognizable.
It doesn't matter.
Like
they wouldn't, most clients aren't going to recognize it because it says
well, then it's,
Ponce Bank recommends, calls you the best photographer.
Right. Well, if it's a badge that you think your clients would be like, oh, that's impressive, then it's a badge I think you should potentially put on your site.
I just wanted to know why they would do that.
Yeah, it's SEO.
Okay.
Yeah, it's SEO. And I know that because I used to send these.
No.
Not like this. Yeah. Oh, years ago, we would send out things and looking and essentially, and this is one way you can build links.
Right.
But we've talked about this before. The trick is you have to give before you get. Right. You have to give something before you get something. Right. And so I used to receive probably a dozen of these per day.
Oh.
Like there was a time in SEO, probably a decade to a decade and a half ago, where, oh my gosh, it was just overwhelming. And like I said, we were sending some of these too. In fact, I remember a client that I had.
But not maliciously.
Not maliciously, no. Like I actually wrote them.
Right.
I actually sent them out. But I do remember one client I was working for sent something to me. And one of the emails I had sent out, the recipient of that email had a lawyer write a cease and desist letter to my client. And the client contacted me. I was like, holy fuck, dude, just mark it as spam if you don't want, just block it. Like,
yeah.
That seems excessive. That seemed very excessive. But it also caused me to reevaluate what I was doing. Good. So, yeah. Anyway, used to send them, used to receive tons of them. Probably why I have such a god-awful opinion of them. However, occasionally they seem somewhat authentic.
Yeah.
And what happens...
Can you hear Marcel? Sorry, it's crying because Buster has the Jew. It's so dramatic.
Only life were that easy. But nowadays, these emails are not as common, not nearly as common, although they still get sent around. And usually, I should say, a common form of these emails is, hey, can you push this or can you link to our site somehow?
Right.
And 9 times out of 10, it's just not worth it.
It's not in your benefit. It does not behoove you.
It's definitely not in your benefit. But even if you to reply to one of these emails, you would quickly figure out that this might be a well-written email backed by by God knows what.
Right.
And so most of the time it goes straight to garbage.
Right.
However, occasionally one catches my eye. One of these caught my eye in probably a decade ago plus. It was from somebody who was just starting a company. Mm-hmm. And the company was one of these things that is going to be online reviews. It was called Clutch.com or Clutch.co. And the guy wrote to me who was starting it. He was just seemed to be starting out. He was doing all this stuff himself.
Yeah, I get those emails.
Yeah, I wrote back to him. Actually, we kind of, I don't want to say it was a friendship, but we had a sort of friendly rapport. And so I did whatever he was offering. I don't remember what it was, but there was something I got in return.
Okay.
There definitely was. So at that time, when he first contacted me, Clutch, it didn't exist. Okay, mm-hmm. It was potentially a scam, sham, whatever. Every once in a while, those sites end up becoming something.
Yeah, true.
Where you might like to have been involved early on.
Yeah.
You got an email from expertise.com. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And at the time, expertise.com was just starting. It was nothing. It looked like garbage. We didn't do anything. Since then, it has become something. The links coming from expertise.com are actually valuable.
Oh, wow.
Yes, they are. And now I think, oh, well, we should have replied. However, I actually did follow up with them. They no longer, so expertise.com, if you're wondering, is a site that reviews vendors, photographers being one of those types of vendors. And they had a section on children and family and newborn photographers. And if you get into their article or I think it was a top 10 list,
yes,
that link ended up being quite valuable. However, they have since knocked off, or they have gotten rid of the newborn children family photographer category. So that is no longer up. And they're focusing on like digital. I don't remember what it was.
Where the money is.
It's yes, exactly. And that's kind of what Clutch did, is they focused on digital marketing agencies and professionals.
Yeah.
Okay. And so it worked out. Expertise, an example where it looked like garbage, ended up being something. And so you have to be aware of that sometime. Every once in a while, you get an email and their website might be garbage now.
So how do you
but it
know?
might turn it. Well, you don't. You honestly don't. The only thing we have to go on is the email that they sent you.
Right.
Right? Like I said, this email seems somewhat professional. I would like to think that maybe they're going to undertake their other endeavors equally as professional in a professional manner. You know what I mean?
So how do you find out?
So, well, you reply. My go-to response used to be for these types of emails straight to garbage.
Right.
Okay. Now I would think, okay, well, there's, what do you have to lose? So this is my approach now, and what I kind of recommend that people do. What do you have to lose? What I would do, and what I probably will do for you, is reply to this email, and they didn't attach any. They just said consider publishing this piece. Didn't attach anything. Didn't provide a link. And that says PF interest. If you're interested, blah 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 blah. And at the end it says, please respond and let me know. So I feel comfortable responding. And I will probably say something along the lines of, well, if you can provide a link to my site as well, I could do that.
Right.
Or something along those lines. I would start off by asking for something that might even not be realistic.
Right.
Like they're probably not going to just provide a link to your site.
Right.
Or, something else that I might say, but I might not put in the first email is like, well, for SEO reasons, I don't publish duplicated content. So I don't want to publish a piece that's already published on God knows how many other websites. And so, but I bet that would get their attention.
Yeah.
And who knows what they might offer in return? Maybe nothing.
Right.
Chances are pretty good, like nothing. But they might come back and say, well, we can give you this, or we can give you that. And then I would evaluate that.
Here, my question is, in responding, does that then put you on some list that then goes to other scamming things?
That's a fair question. And
Thank
yes,
you.
it could technically. But again, I'm just going by my gut instinct. And this seems to be a reasonably well-written email. If I click on the site, it looks... Also, if there's a link, if you know the site,
and then
click
I'm
on the
afraid
link.
to click on links because I think then they'll have my information.
Okay, well, if that's the case, they put this came through your this is sort of technical, but this came through your technical. It came through your contact form.
Right.
Which means that it's just text. Okay, there's nothing embedded. There's no secret links.
Right.
So you can click on a link.
Really?
You can do that. If it's just like, abc.com, you can click on that. They can't track that. If it's abc.com / and then a big string of characters, I would recommend you don't click on those links.
Okay.
Now, if somebody sends you, I'm fascinated by this. It's totally boring.
No.
If somebody sends you an email and there's a link on it,
Yeah.
even if the link says abc.com and you click on it, inside that link
That's what I was just going to
can be
say.
tracking. But when it comes through your contact form, they can't do that.
They can't.
They cannot.
Because
Correct. Because
they can't
it's just
include
text. It's just they can include links, but it's just text. They can't hide any text. They can't have hidden text. In an email, you can do that.
That's
With your contact form, you usually cannot do that.
And to me, as the recipient, it's just another email.
Right.
But actually, it's a slightly more filtered email.
Yeah. And if you do get an email like that and there is a link in it, personally, what I would do, instead of clicking on it, look at the link, copy and paste the name of the domain, just the domain, and then go open it up in a browser. That will not include any tracking information.
Okay.
Whereas the links in an email, definitely, they're almost always going to be tracked.
Terrified of clicking a link and then forever being spammed with
And again,
mail order bribe.
This wasn't even emailed to you, so it wasn't sent to your email address. It came through your contact form.
Right.
So
Which was emailed to me, but through a different tunnel.
Yes, yeah. It came
That's
through
the
it
difference.
came through the gate on your website,
That's
let's
it.
say. The
Yeah,
contact
that's what
form.
the difference is.
Yeah.
Got
So-
it.
Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write back to this person and say, hey, this is sort of a negotiation. So I'm going to start off by not being like, yeah, please, I'm not going to go 100% full board in. Like,
Oh my gosh, I've been waiting for this.
This is so happy. I'd
I'm
be
going
like,
to grow my business.
I would write back something like, yeah, well, maybe.
Show me
but
what you got.
Yeah, show me like what piece you did. Nothing was attached, nothing was linked. Show me what you're considering. I might.
I'll think about
Would
it.
you be willing to? And then I would ask. I would have some sort of
In return.
probably over the top ask.
Such as?
Yeah, if you can provide a link to our site. Yeah, and they might come back and say something like, "Oh, we'll do a post on social media." Well, to me, that is
But this
that's
would be
less than
such good exposure.
right. Anyway, that's what I plan to do. I think that's a pretty good approach, and I'm still expecting very little.
Right.
I'm expecting nothing, to be honest. But I'm curious, what would they offer? They've got to offer something in exchange. I'm not just going to publish a piece on your website just for the fun of it, just to help this person.
Yeah.
What do they have to offer? So that's
Never heard
the
that.
gist of my response. Is like, well, maybe what so can you give me something in return?
Right.
Period. That's kind of what I
I
would
can
do.
do something for you. What can you do for me?
Yeah. Like I said, you have nothing to lose except maybe you get spammed in the future. If you receive emails like this and your gut just says it's a spammy email,
Yeah.
you trust your gut on that
Yeah.
one. The things I would look for, is it well written? Is it seem sincere? This one has a phone number. I mean, you could look up the phone number. Does it go to this company? That's a pretty good sign.
Yeah.
Has his name, doesn't have his email address. Oh, it does have his email. Yes.
address.
Yeah. It has his, and it's everything looks like legit here. So I am going to write back to this person
Very exciting. Stay tuned.
right after we eat our dinner from a hungry root.
Yes, hungry root. Oh my gosh, the ravioli. So yummy.
Today, no,
Summer.
not today. Yesterday, we had the heater on. Today, we'll probably put the AC on. Spring happened between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m.
We had 2 hours of it. Now my favorite season ever. Hey, thank you so much for listening. We really hope that you find this helpful and useful. And if you do, what you could do for us as a thanks would be to, drumroll please, yes, leave a review. Yes, everybody says it, I know, but it really does make a difference. Take 3 seconds, leave as many stars, say something really nice about what you like about the podcast and maybe why other people would like it. It would mean the world to us, especially my husband. That better? All right, I'm going to try one where I'm not going to be charming.